Warm greetings from India and a lovely good evening to all the viewers who are watching us live. And of course, good morning and good noon too. I, Supriya Kumar Velan, welcome you all on this global talk show by Business Power Academy, Netherlands. And today we have an eminent guest that is Fog Chua from Alberta. Welcome, Fong, to our show.
Hey, thanks for having me. Always a joy.
Well, Fong Chua is an entrepreneur, business strategist, real estate investor, speaker, and 3x best-selling author. He has successfully unblocked many of his clients' potentials, demonstrating how they can achieve more than that they had ever thought possible. He has been able to inspire and bring to reality authors, entrepreneurs, and speakers, coming up with the branding, marketing, positioning strategies that increases client businesses and exposure, along with working on his clients' networking, relationship building, and public speaking skills. You can find Fong everywhere. Well, Fong, you have an amazing bio, and everybody is impressed, including me too. So, I would like to ask your great inspirational journey.
So how did I get started? Well, that's usually a loaded question, which I'm sure a lot of your guests would say. But to try and shorten up, when I started off as a civil structural engineer. So when I was growing up, I was told that, hey, being an engineer would be great. So that's what I got into. And in 2005 is when I got my first engineering job. And where I am at, I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, where oil and gas is a very big influence on our economy. So when it goes up, our economy goes up. When it goes down, our economy crashes. Well, I got to experience my very first downturn in the economy in 2007, 2008. And that's when I first realized that no matter how much you work for a company, no matter how loyal you are to a company, you eventually become a number and you may or may not get laid off. So our company at the time went from 800 some people down to 125 people. Lots of people were let go. So at that moment, whether I get let go or not, we decided to look into something else other than engineering. So we picked up the very famous Rich Dad Poor Dad book and started looking into real estate. So from there, we realized that we were also missing something else. We were missing a coach, we were missing a mentor to help us guide along in this new journey. Because I come from a very like a blue collar kind of family where we're told to work hard and all that kind of stuff. Nobody's in business. So then we hired a business coach and real estate coach to kind of help us along. So that helped us get from 0 properties to about 23, 24 properties, over 30 some units. And then from there, my coach goes, well, why don't you start writing a book? I'm like, okay, start writing a book. So from there, within 2-3 years, I wrote self-published 2-3 books. And then to date, I have about 8 books out. I actually have 1 kid's book, which was dedicated to my daughter. And then, so as the book writing came along, then my coach goes, why don't you start speaking? I'm like, okay, let's start speaking. So got to do my first speaking engagements at his event. And then after that, started doing a lot of other engagements in the States and Canada, showing people how to write books, showing people how to build their brand, increasing the mindset and whatnot. And then during the pandemic recently, my coach goes, well, why don't you start a podcast? I'm like, okay, let's start a podcast. So then started a podcast, been able to interview lots of different people from all over the world. And I'm pretty sure that within that, within those connections and that network is probably where I met you too, because I think within that circle, we got connected. So it's been great, lots of fun. And that's a long journey told short.
That's really great, brilliant. And I must say, the journey from a coach, from a podcast, and now speaker. So was just like a roller coaster ride, right? Yeah.
It has lots of ups and downs, lots of lessons, lots of frustrations, but also a lot of great great benefits as well. It's really livened up my life.
That's brilliant. Well, Fong, I would like to ask one more thing. When you were moving in your journey, like an author, podcast, speaker, what were the challenges you have faced, and how you have overcome that?
As I mentioned, I had a business coach and a real estate coach throughout my journey. So I remember my very first real estate deal. That was a big challenge. We put out an offer on a house, and we were scared out of our mind. We were scared not because we were going to get rejected. We were scared if they actually accepted our offer, because we didn't know what happens if they actually said yes. What happens if we actually bought the house? So then we were very scared. Once they said, no, we're not accepting your offer, I'm like, oh, I felt so good because now I don't have to worry about it. That's when I realized I needed somebody to kind of talk to. And having that coach bounce those ideas, saying, hey, this is the right path. This is what's going to happen next. This is what you should offer. This is what you shouldn't offer. This is how you negotiate. All that stuff made building that real estate portfolio so much easier. I've had nights where my tenants were being an issue. I was text messaging my coach like long messages. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? He's like, don't worry about it. Relax. Just calm down. We'll get through it, because he's been there and he's done that. So that's how the real estate portfolio started being built. With regards to the speaking, that was also something I was afraid of. Being able to speak in front of lots of people, doing videos, doing all that kind of stuff is something that I wasn't used to. In fact, my coach was doing this documentary movie, and every time I look at the camera, I would forget my words, I would stutter, I would completely go, okay, I can't do this, stop the recording. To the point where he goes, you know what, let's try this. He would cover up that little red button or that red light to make me think I'm not thinking that it's recorded. Well, that didn't work out very well, because I'm like, I know the red light's there, you're just covering up. So after lots of practice, lots of speaking, lots of videos, that's when I started getting more and more comfortable. And it's one of those things where you just have to throw yourself out there and do it. I had lots of coaches that told me, you know what, all the stuff that you're worried about is inside your mind, right? You go up on stage, you say you're nervous. Well, only you can tell you're nervous. Most of the people outside that area in the audience wouldn't know that you're nervous. That's why when I coach a lot of my clients right now, don't ever go up on stage and say, oh, this is my first time. Oh, I'm so nervous. Oh, I'm getting over a cold. Never say that, because then once you say that, the audience will start going, oh, that's why they did this. Oh, that's why they did that, right? So they start recognizing stuff that you don't want them to see. If you don't say anything, they won't know. So then that's how the speaking thing went. The book writing was also another challenge that we had to go through. And I'm sure a lot of people out there on your show listening would go, book writing? Well, who am I to write a book? I don't know how to write a book. That person over there is more successful than me. They don't have a book. Why would I have a book? And those are all the same things that I told myself, until my coach goes, well, writing a book is easy. You can finish a book, like all my clients can finish their books within 3 to 4 months from scratch. So then as long as you have the right system, you can write a book. Then my coach goes, well, if that person's not listening to you, don't worry about that person. All these other people would like to listen to you. Just like when we go speak, when we're speaking on stages, when we're speaking right now, we don't expect everybody to be listening. So we handpick or we focus on the people who are listening. And then the last one was, well, that person's more successful. Why don't they have a book? Why would I write a book? And that is when he gave me the line that was completely changed my life. And he says, over the last 100 years, nothing new has been written, but your voice hasn't been heard. Now, I may or may not be able to reach your audience and your family members or your friends and followers, but if you don't write your book or you don't send your message, then you're depriving them of your message, because your message gravitates to them. They relate to you. So you need to do something. I'm like, oh, that made it so much easier. So then I wrote from 1, 2, 3, and up to like 5, 7 books now.
That's marvelous, Fong. And I loved your trick. Don't show to the world that you are nervous, because you only know that you are nervous. You need not to tell That it's my first time. So I've also been writing your tips how to face the public speaking and all. Thank you so much for enlightening my viewers also who are watching us live this show. Thank you so much for your lovely journey. And I will say that these challenges which I have asked to you, it was not really a challenge. The way you've handled in a very lucid way, and I really love that these challenges are not just challenges, that is just opportunities. So hats off to you. Brilliant, brilliant answer.
I've always said that if your life doesn't have any adversity, if it doesn't have any challenges, then you're not growing. The only way we can grow is to face some challenges, face some failures, face some hardship. Because if everything's too easy, you become lazy.
Oh,
And you go,
I love
oh, this is nothing. I'll just coast. Well, you're not going to grow if you're going to do that.
well, from the peak potential success show, which I was listening, and even I have seen on Facebook, your podcast and your weekly video that is Make More Mind Bites on his YouTube channel. I would love to know what's all that.
Well, the Make More Mind Bites,
Yeah.
like I was saying before, I had an issue trying to do videos. How that show came about was really my coach forcing me to do videos. It wasn't really to help people. It wasn't really to add value to people at the time. Although I want to make sure the content was good, it was really to get my mind into a space that I can actually do it. To press the submit button or the launch button so that it's out there in the world. So I said that I can't do videos. I wasn't able to do anything recorded. So then I also read this book that said, once you have a camera in front of you, your ego goes up and you feel as if you have to be perfect because you're being recorded. So I'm like, that's what I have. I have that problem. I have ego depletion. That's why I can't do it. So then I justify my problem. Well, I was in a mastermind group one time and I said, yep, I can't do videos. See, I got ego depletion. My ego goes up. I have to be perfect and can't do it and all that kind of stuff. So then one person stood up and go, well, why don't you, oh, no, my coach at the time went, why don't you promise all of us, shake my hand and do one video a day, 365 videos. And I'm like, wow, the engineer in me said 365 videos. That's a lot of content. And I don't have that much topics and all that kind of stuff. So I was already telling myself it wasn't doable. Then one of the members says, well, why don't you just promise to do one video a week? I'm like, oh, wow, I just saved myself 300 videos. That's only 52 videos. And she said, I don't care what topic you say. I don't care how long you go. You could do 30 seconds. You could do 2 minutes. You could do 5 minutes. You could talk about anything. I'm like, okay, that's sounding a little bit easier and a little bit doable. And then all of a sudden, another person stood up and says, well, if you do it, I'll do it. And another person stood up and said, well, if you do it, I'll do it. All of a sudden, we had 3 or 4 people who was on this challenge to do one video a week for a whole year. One member stood up, grabbed their phone, went on Facebook Live and said, hey, everybody, we're on this challenge where this person, Fong, this person will be doing a video a week. What are we talking about, Fong? I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
oh God.
I was forced to say something, and then now I'm committed.
Yeah.
So then I didn't want to lose to the group. I want to make sure that I do one video a week. So then during the flight home in the airport, I was there doing my very first video, recording over. I think I did 172 takes or something like that until I was actually satisfied to go post.
Wow.
After a while, I'm like, I'm not going to lose this. I'm going to make sure I have one video a week. And then it turns out that I was the only one that did one video a week. And I asked one of my challengers, well, what happened to you? He goes, oh, I wasn't ever going to do it. Just wanted to see if you would do it. I'm like, oh, well, anyway, thanks for that, because that was 900 videos ago. So that's really pushed me out of that comfort zone to actually do the videos, and hence the Make More Mind Bites got launched, and it's still going. I'm not as consistent on that anymore because I have the podcast, I have my Make More Mind Bites, I have my Unlocking the Mind, I have a whole bunch of other shows that I'm doing. So that one's kind of taking a back seat, but it's still something that I'm proud of because it helped me push me over the edge. And then you talked about the podcast.
Yeah.
That's an opportunity for me to connect with different people,
Mhm.
interview people from all over the world about their expertise. How did they become successful? Because I truly believe that everybody in the world could be very successful in what they put their mind to, as long as they have somebody to relate to, somebody to learn from, somebody to guide them, and
Right.
plus their own persistency and their willpower. So when you're listening to different stories, most of our stories, as I'm sure you know, for instance, you're asking about my story. My story was, oh, I wanted to be persistent. I had a coach. I worked hard and all that kind of stuff. If you ask another person, they'll probably say the same thing.
Mm.
But then our backgrounds are different, right? Our journey was just a little bit different. Our topics are a little bit different, but the overall thing is the same. But somebody else who was an engineer might go, oh, if that person's an engineer and made this progress, I can relate to that, right? So then you're able to pick and choose who you want to listen to. That's why I interview from engineers to Olympic champions to TV personalities to celebrities to financial advisors, so that I get a good range of people who are successful in what they do, so that other people can elevate and reach their peak potential.
Wow, Fong, you really nailed it. And the way you have told all these things means difficult things in such an easy manner that really inspires my viewers, my audience lot. And I must say this to this live show. Never ever give up on your dreams. Always move forward. The way Fong has said that keep revolving yourself, doing this. He was jumping from this place to this profession, but he was keep on doing. And that's most important in your life, that you have some resilience, you have that dedication, perseverance. And when things will start happening the way you are thinking, it will never happen. You have to push up yourself. And that's the message I have got today from Fong, and it's really inspiring. Thank you so much, Fong. Well, Fong, one question I would like to ask, since you are a marketing strategist, you're a brand builder, so what tips basically you give to your clients for branding, marketing, and positioning strategies? So, can you please help me enlightening this?
Well, one of the biggest things when it comes to a personal brand, a business brand, marketing, and all kinds of stuff, is that you have to be consistent.
Hmm.
You don't want to show one logo somewhere and then another logo somewhere else. That's why I'm always dressed up in this way for most of my interviews, because most of my interviews I look like this. I want to make sure that my image brand is the same. I want to make sure that the photos on my Instagram, my podcast, all that kind of stuff, my social media is consistent. That's why on my social media, you'll never see me talking about food. You never see me talking about my family, because that's not congruent with what I do as a business. So I need to be consistent. I like to treat my social media like a live resume. So every time somebody wants to know what I'm doing for my work, for my career, for my business, for my clients, my social media talks about all that stuff. You're not going to see me talking about, oh, I just had a great meal at this restaurant. Unless there was a branding or marketing angle from that or business lesson, then I would talk about it. But always be consistent. Another thing that I usually share with my clients is that don't do everything don't do everything and all by yourself. You can always do a whole bunch of stuff with one thing. And for instance, when people come to me to do books, I go, okay, well, why don't we use your book and expand it to everything else, repurpose it, right? If you can write one chapter, that means you could write a blog, right? Then you could put that into your LinkedIn. That means you could put it onto your Facebook. You could put it onto whatever, right? Then you can take a whole bunch. Let's say you take 10 of those blogs and make it an overall theme. Now you have 10 weeks of contents for your blog or articles. Then you have 10 chapters in your book. That's two things that's done at the same time. Well, what's stopping you from using those blog posts, reading it out loud, and then using that as your podcast? So now you have 10 weeks of episodes for your podcast, which if you're doing it on video, now you have 10 videos on your YouTube channel. So everything's consistent, everything's within your sphere, so that you're not going all over the place, and you're just really doing one thing at a time. but you're completing all 3-4 different tasks. So with regards to branding and marketing, it's very, very important that you have to be consistent. And all the other stuff, for instance, showcase your associations. Who do you know? Because in the end, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. When people know who you are and when people know what you do, then they'll come to you. So therefore, do things that shock people, do things that make people gravitate to your social media, to your Instagram, so that it catches their attention. That's why I spend a lot of time going out to different events, meeting different celebrities, being in the room with great people, so that I can have that shock value. So those are two things I find that's very, very important.
That's awesome. And Fong, I reciprocate to you in one thing. Most of the people I have seen on Facebook or social media, they say, yes, we are doing this and that. But suddenly they will just put, yes, I'm in this restaurant, I'm having this dinner. So that doesn't make your brand. You should have your live resume, which you have said, and it should only showcase your professional things, not in your personal things. Even I follow the same thing. I never put my personal things over there. I'm eating this, I'm eating that. Rather, I showcase what I am being into, what are my expertise area, and you just flourish your brand. So very true. And I must advise everyone, every follower or viewer who are watching us today, please follow the footsteps of Fong and just make your branding, your marketing in a very successful manner. What he has advised, really golden words. So thank you so much, Fong, for this lovely answer. And we are not going to miss this, whatever you have said. We are going to follow it. Well, when we are talking about your book, that is Make More Work, Less Work, I would like to know, this is something a very catchy topic, a very unique topic. What is all about your book? Because you're an author also. So please enlighten us too.
So during the time when I was starting to do a whole bunch of real estate, I was also recognizing that there's so much stuff out there that I was not told or shown. I was focused on my studies back in university. I worked very hard to get my job. So I was thinking about that employee mindset. And then all of a sudden I learned about real estate. I'm like, hey, how come nobody talked about real estate? Then because I'm in that mindset of, hey, show me more stuff, show me more stuff. Then I started to understand how insurance works. Then I started learning how exempt markets work, how finances work, how investments work. Then I had somebody show me about network marketing, and then also talk about gold and silver, and then stocks and all this kind of stuff. I'm like, wow, look at all this stuff that I didn't know about. But look at all this time I spent to find out all this stuff, right? I talked to lots of different people, read lots of books and whatnot. So then when people came to me and go, hey, what exactly do you do? Because they thought that I was just purely doing engineering. And I'm like, well, I'm doing this with real estate. I'm doing this with my stocks. Then I'm doing this with my insurance and all that. That conversation is a good 3 to 4 hours long because I had to try and introduce them to those topics and then show them how these topics would actually benefit them in their financial foundation. So then my coach goes, what? 3, 4 hours? That's not very effective of your time. I'm like, no, it's not. But I like talking about it. He goes, well, why don't you write your first book? So basically, my first book is how do you build a financial foundation with these items? How do you set it and then basically forget it? Life insurance is something that you can buy and you can set it up and you don't have to worry about it. And if it's set up right, by the time you retire, you can retire off your life insurance if you wanted to. So that's one level. Then you could buy gold and silver. Buy it, set it away, forget about it if you want to, and then you can wait till it appreciates in value. Then there's real estate where you have to put more time and more energy in it if you choose to. There's ways of doing real estate where you don't have to. I've been buying houses without even going into a house. There's ways to do it, right? So there's lots of different levels. So then now I go, hey, read this book. Let me know which topic you want to know more about. When we meet, I'll talk more about it, or I'll send you to or connect you to my expert in that area so that you can get the right help on that area. So then that's how that first book came about. Because if most people will have to work, let's say 40 years? Yeah, 40 years of their life. Yeah, from 20 to 60, right, before they retire. What if we could reduce that time to 50? to 40 is when you retire, right? So that means you can make more by working less, by having your money put into certain things more strategically, so that you don't have to wait until 60 to have enough money to retire. But if you could keep on reducing that timeline and then eventually overcome your current salary or current job, then you could do that instead of going and working as an employee. So that's why I wrote that first book. Then after a while, I go, wait a minute, if I need to have all these people, these team members to help me get there, I'll write a book about my team members. And then I go, well, I'm doing real estate, I'll write a book on real estate. So I kind of had all that stuff branded under the Make More Work Less, because it's something, yes, you have to put your time and effort into it at the beginning, but once you have it all set, once you have it all systemized, you're basically making more by working less. So then that's how my series came about.
You have given such a great idea that everybody wants to work on your footstep, and they will just work less and make more, work less and make more. So that's a great, roller coaster rides you have given. So awesome one, Pong. And I must say, the audience people will really, really love your answer, and they're going to follow what you ever said, because these are the great experiences which you are giving to us, and we are going to make our life really the best version, and we will. Thank you so much. Well, Fong, this is really an interesting journey, very electrifying, very energetic person you are. So that's really great. Keep it up. And one more thing, what message would you like to give to our audience today?
The message I have for a lot of my viewers and your audience here is that you can do whatever you truly want to do, because there's always somebody else out there who's done what you truly want to do. So reach out to those people, find out how they did it, find out their failures, find out their successes, so you can learn from them and follow in their footsteps. Tweak that journey a little bit so that it fits your message, your ethics, your journey, right? There's always someone out there who's willing to help. You don't have to do everything yourself. If you want to do something, reach out. Don't be afraid to ask those questions, find those mentors, find those coaches, because people who are willing, who are successful and who are good, genuine people, they're always willing to lend a hand. They're always willing to share some expertise, because they want to be able to bring people with them to that success that they've got. People who don't want to share it and goes, oh, I don't want you because you're going to become a competition. Well, that's not the person you want to reach out to. Reach out to those people who can actually help you, guide you along that journey that you truly want to go on. And don't just ask one. There's many people who's done it. There's many people who are successful in different ways. So reach out to those people and kind of mix and match which one works best for you.
Wow, that's really a great message you have given today. And my viewers, my followers, including me, are going to follow this, what you have said, what you have given. That's really a great one. And I must say, once again, thanks, heartfelt thanks to Fong. You have come on this global talk show, shared your experiences, life journey, and given us the best golden nuggets of wisdom. So thank you so much once again.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me. I've had a blast sharing. I love being able to add value and impact as many people as I can. So thank you very much for the opportunity. You have an amazing show. You have a lot of great people on your show, and I'm just very, very humbled to be one of those people on your show. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I would also thank to my lovely audience who are consistently and constantly inspiring us, motivating us, and loving us. So thank you so much from the bottom core of my heart. Stay tuned for another shows. Until then, stay healthy, happy, hale, and hearty. Thank you so much.